Hello everyone! Today we're going to make a quiver to store all those arrows we made last week. A quiver will be a great accessory for your Marvel Legends Hawkeye or Taskmaster, or if you're a DC fan, this will work for Green Arrow as well. I previously asked for your help in deciding on whether we should make our quivers with a peg to plug into the action figure's back, or a strap that curves around the chest. Thank you for your input. I've collected your data and 84% of you want a quiver with a strap. Isn't data fun? No, not that kind of data, but, well, he's fun too. I was thinking that since it's not too much more work for me to show both methods, we're going to make both today. The materials you will need for this project are a stiff fabric. I'm using a poly suede fabric I got from Hobby Lobby, and a link to the exact fabric will be in the video description. A ruler or T-square, fabric marking pencil, a compass or small circular objects that you can trace around, low temperature glue gun, glue sticks. For the peg quiver, I'm using 18 gauge aluminum wire, pliers, and wire cutters. For the strap quiver, I'm using super glue and 1mm by 2mm disc magnets that I got on eBay. A link to those will be in the description as well. You will also need scissors. First, I'm going to measure and cut out a rectangle from my fabric to make the cylinder part of the quiver. This rectangle is 5.5 centimeters wide and 6.3 centimeters tall. Now set this rectangle aside. Next, we're going to make the bottom of the quiver. I cut out a small square from my fabric that is roughly 4 centimeters across. Make a dot on the middle of your fabric that will become the center of the circle. I'm going to use my ruler to help space my compass so that the pencil and the tip of the compass are 1.2 centimeters apart. This 1.2 centimeters will also become the radius of the circle, which is from the middle of the circle to the edge of the circle. I think the stuff that I learned in geometry class comes in handy more often when I'm crafting than any other time. I guess that's a lesson for you kids. Pay attention in school so you can make cool stuff. Now we're going to set our compass so that the pencil tip and the compass point are 6 millimeters apart. Put the compass point on that central mark that we made before, and we're going to make a smaller circle. Cut the fabric along the outermost circle. Then cut lines in the fabric from the outer edge to the inner circle. I think I made about a dozen cuts spaced evenly along the circle. We're making these cuts so that the outer edge of the circle can be folded up and be glued to the cylinder part of the quiver. Apply a little bit of hot glue to the back side of the outer edge of your rectangle fabric along the shorter side that's 5.5 centimeters across. Quickly attach a flap or two from the outer edge of your circle piece. You want the good side of your circle's flaps to be attached to the glue. And slowly make your way across the edge of the fabric and apply a little bit of hot glue and attach a flap or two of fabric at a time. It helps if you use one of your fingers inside the cylinder you are making to help smoothly roll it onto the bottom of the base. This takes some practice, and I had to make a couple of these quivers before I got the hang of it, so don't get discouraged. And you could see how close my fingers are getting to the glue. I ended up touching the glue directly several times on accident, so that's why I really recommend for this project that you use a low temperature glue gun instead of a high one, which will end up burning your skin. Now we have the base glued on. If you are making a quiver that attaches with a strap, just apply a line of glue on the side of the fabric, making a cylinder, to attach it to the other side. You could trim off any excess fabric if needed on the side and top. However, if you're making a quiver that attaches with a peg, do not glue the side yet. Instead, measure and mark a point on the fabric that is forming the cylinder that is about 2.3 centimeters from the open top end of the quiver. Then cut a small notch from the fabric on your mark. This notch is where the peg will be inserted later. Now we need to make the peg. Since the depth of the hole on the figure's back varies even within the same toy line, I'm going to use my wire to get an idea of how long to make my peg. This particular Hawkeye has a really shallow hole in his back, so I can't make my peg very long. Take a small piece of wire and bend it in half. Then pull both sides down to make a T shape. Cut the top edge of the T so that both sides are about ½ centimeter long. Use your low temperature glue gun to glue the side of your quiver shut until you reach that notch you cut in your fabric. Then glue in the T-shaped peg into the notch so that the folded wire bottom of the T is facing out of the quiver. Then glue the remaining side of the quiver shut. Apply some hot glue to the tip of your peg to make it thicker. After each layer of glue cools, test it on your figure to see if the peg is thick enough to stay in place. If you made your glue too thick and it won't fit, just use the side of the nozzle of your glue gun to melt some of that glue back off. If you'd rather make a quiver with a strap instead of a peg, cut a strip of fabric that is about ½ centimeter wide. I cut my strip of fabric fairly long because I wasn't sure how long it needed to be. Glue one end of the fabric with a good side of the fabric down to the back of the quiver about 1/3 of the way down and at about a 45-degree angle. See? More geometry. Crazy, right? Then use your figure to help you line up where the other end of the strap should attach to the back of the quiver. And mark this area on the strap and the back of the quiver. You want the strap to be firm against your figure's chest, but not choking them or cutting off their circulation in their armpit. Instead of gluing the other end of the strap to the figure, I'm going to use magnets to attach it so that it will be super easy to remove the quiver. I'm using some strong disc magnets that are 2 millimeters wide and attaching one with super glue to the back of the quiver to the mark I made. Then I glue a second magnet to the strap. And as always, when you're working with magnets, pay attention to the polarity of them so that they'll stick together when you're done. Otherwise, you're going to end up having to twist your strap. Wow, math and science in the same video. If you mess up your magnets, peel one of them up with a knife and glue the opposite side down. Then, after the glue has dried and you make sure your quiver fits, you can cut off the excess fabric from the strap, and your quiver is done. And before we go, I have some photos to share from viewers utilizing some of my previous projects. This first photo is by Spectre CLS07 that he shared from his Facebook group. He made a nice looking arrow for his Hawkeye. The next photos are from Fernando. He made some arrows for Hawkeye and his green arrow. I love that boxing glove arrow. Very nice. The final photos are by Julian, and boy, he's been busy. He made a lot of arrows from last week's crafting video, including his own take on a launched net arrow. He redid his bow, made the spider sense effect, and some lightning for Thor. Excellent work! If you would like to make any of these projects for your own action figures, check out my toy crafting playlist for instructions. And if you've tried any of my projects, I'd love to see your photos too. Just send me a link to your photos in the comments or send them to me on a social networking site. And that's all the toy fun for today. Feel free to check out my other videos for more crafts and reviews, and you could always subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Thanks for watching.